You probably believe you don't worship idols. No statues, no altars, nothing that looks like ancient idolatry. But here's a disturbing question. What if the most dangerous form of modern idolatry is the one you carry in your pocket every single day? What if something subtle is quietly replacing God in your life while you barely notice it happening? Think about your routine for a moment. You wake up and the first thing your hand reaches for is your phone, not time with God. Notifications come before prayer, scrolling comes before reflection, and little by little, digital dependency takes hold. Fueled by dopamine and social media, the chase for validation on social media feeds the silent need for approval, and before long, a quiet spiritual drifting begins. At first, it feels harmless, just checking messages, watching videos, staying productive. But cell phone addiction, social media addiction, and the pressure of productivity culture slowly become the new modern idols shaping your spiritual priorities. Without realizing it, a subtle disconnection from God grows, leaving behind a strange spiritual emptiness. And the most unsettling part? The signs that you're drifting away from God are already there, you just haven't recognized them yet. The subtle idols of the digital age. You live in a time where modern idols don't look like statues, they look like screens. One quick check on your phone turns into 20 minutes, then an hour, and suddenly cell phone addiction begins shaping your attention. Without noticing, social media addiction feeds a quiet cycle of dopamine and social media, pulling your focus again and again. This is how modern idolatry often begins, not through rebellion, but through distraction. Slowly, what once belonged to God, your attention, your thoughts, your quiet moments, starts being replaced by something else. Every notification promises connection, approval, or importance. The chase for validation on social media feeds the deep human need for approval, while social media anxiety quietly grows in the background. You may even tell yourself it's harmless, just entertainment, just staying informed. But little by little, digital manipulation and digital dependency create habits that become powerful spiritual distractions. And before long, those small habits begin causing something far more serious: spiritual drifting. That drifting rarely feels dramatic. It feels normal. Prayer becomes shorter, time with God becomes occasional, and Christian reflection slowly disappears from daily life. This is how Christianity in the digital age often faces its greatest challenge, not persecution, but distraction. The result is a quiet disconnection from God, followed by a sense of spiritual emptiness that's hard to explain. And if you pay attention, you might start noticing a few uncomfortable signs you are drifting away from God. When success and approval become modern idols, you may not notice it at first, but another powerful idol often hides behind ambition. Productivity culture quietly whispers that your value depends on how much you produce, achieve, and accomplish. Work becomes the center of your identity, and life slowly turns into a subtle form of work slavery. Long hours, endless goals, and constant pressure begin replacing God in your daily spiritual priorities. Everything may look successful on the outside, yet a quiet spiritual emptiness can start growing within. At the same time, social media and spirituality start colliding in ways that are easy to overlook. You begin measuring your value through likes, comments, and attention, feeding the deep need for approval. The cycle of dopamine and social media keeps pulling you back, creating a powerful form of digital dependency. What feels like connection often turns into social media anxiety, and a deeper disconnection from God. And slowly, these habits become another layer of modern idolatry shaping your life. But sometimes, a quiet moment changes everything. When spiritual truth resonates, your soul recognizes it immediately, without debate or hesitation. If something in this message feels deeply true for you, write "so it is" in the comments as a simple declaration of alignment. And if this reflection speaks to your path towards spiritual awakening and spiritual growth, gently like the video and subscribe to stay part of this growing conscious community, reclaiming your attention and returning to God. The moment you recognize these modern idols, something powerful begins to shift inside you. Awareness breaks the illusion that digital dependency, social media addiction, and endless distraction are harmless habits. You start noticing how certain routines quietly pulled you into spiritual drifting. Suddenly, the signs become clear. Less prayer, less time with God, more noise filling every quiet moment. And that realization becomes the first step toward real spiritual transformation. Change doesn't start with grand gestures. It begins with small, intentional choices. Try something simple. Spend the first 10 minutes of your morning in silence before touching your phone. Open the Bible, read a passage from Psalms or Proverbs, and reflect on what it reveals about God's purpose for your life. Turn off non-essential notifications that feed social media anxiety and constant distraction. These small habits help rebuild your spiritual priorities and slowly restore your connection with God. As these changes grow, you begin experiencing something deeper than productivity or online validation. Instead of chasing validation on social media, you start pursuing genuine spiritual growth and a deeper understanding of spiritual truth. This is where Christian reflection becomes powerful again, guiding you through the noise of Christianity in the digital age. Now take a quiet moment and look honestly at your life. What has been quietly replacing God in your daily routine? Is it the endless scroll, the pressure of productivity culture, the chase for validation on social media, or the silent pull of digital dependency? Many people never notice these modern idols, and that's exactly why they are so powerful. But once you see them clearly, you begin the journey of breaking free from modern idolatry and returning to what truly fills the soul. Real spiritual transformation doesn't happen overnight, but it begins with a decision. Choosing to protect your time with God, to step away from habits that cause spiritual drifting, and to realign your spiritual priorities with God's purpose for your life. This is how spiritual awakening begins, one small choice at a time, one moment of Christian reflection, one step closer to a deeper connection with God. And the beautiful part is that every step away from distraction becomes a step toward peace.